Hello, Pipe community. Today I've got some Old Joe Krantz. Hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Krantz, how do you say it? And my Mark Twain corn cob. I'll be having a few pipes today, actually. This is one of three I plan on having. Happy New Year. I'm at my sister's right now, celebrating New Year's Day. It's, as you can tell, pretty dreary. No rain, but it looks like it wants to. And puffing on this too much, getting hot. I'll let that cool off a bit before I crack it. If you're not Catholic, this will probably be very boring to you, because I'm going to mention Pope Benedict XVI. He passed away, what was it, yesterday or the day before yesterday? There's a lot of people saying different things, usually in extremes, about him. Some people want to saint him. He was the best pope ever. Then others try to call him a heretic, which is stupid as well. He was a good pope, really, I think, for the most part. He defended the Latin Mass. He didn't attack tradition. He encouraged it in some ways, actually. Tradition, I mean. He didn't try to ordain any women, which would be invalid anyway, but he didn't even water down the faith on those issues. He stayed faithful to the church's teaching. He didn't try to say that divorced and remarried who have not gotten annulment can somehow receive communion. He didn't seem to justify any mortal sins. He did not teach material heresy that I'm aware of, and then refused to change his ways after being corrected or anything. I haven't read all of his writings, but I did read God is Love, which was a good one. You know, nothing horrible there, and it made some good statements there. What else? He wrote those books, Jesus of Nazareth. I have one of them, but I've yet to actually read through it for some reason. I got it years ago and just never read it. I tend to do that with books in general, though, so I tend to get books and either don't read it or start to read it, put it down, pick it back up. I love reading books, and I end up reading too many at a time. What else? He's did a lot of good. And I'm not going to disparage a man after he's already gone. He can't defend himself. Really no point in doing that. I am going to point out just one negative thing on my mind, only to kind of balance out what I'm saying, that he's done good, you know. And plus, I don't want to get my book all dirty, man. Plus, I don't want to make it sound like he hasn't done anything wrong. We can't deny reality. I don't think he did as bad as John Paul II with some of the things he did. Not that John Paul II is evil or anything, but he did do some pretty questionable things, like when he's into religious things. I won't get into that. Just the point is, he hasn't done anything that bad. But the biggest thing that sticks in my mind is his resignation. Now, my understanding about how that went down was that, oops, let me fix this a second. Try to adjust my camera here. Was that he got a report on the corruption in the church, particularly with Masons and homosexuals. He got that report, looked at it, and said, I can't handle this. I'm too old. I can't do it. To me, that's dereliction of duty. I'm not going to call him a coward. I don't want to go that far. I'm tempted to, just because call me zealous, call me strict, I don't know, stiff-necked, whatever, but I won't call him that, because you know what, I got to take into account that I don't know what he knew, you know? And I don't know what I would do in a similar situation. But, in any case, it's dereliction of duty. You were elected to be a leader. Part of being a leader is you defend the faithful. You defend Mother Church from the wolves, the corrupt wolves inside the church. You were given those keys to do just that. And if you thought you weren't going to be able to do that, you should have never accepted the election to begin with. You could have rejected it. You could have said, no, I'm too old. I'm not able to deal with it, so don't do it. I said, okay, fine. But he didn't. He accepted the election. Came out of the doors. Habemus Papam. You're the Pope now. And then upon seeing that the job was hard, left. Some people try to say it was a masterstroke of strategy, that the people would end up revealing themselves now through Francis and his acolytes. No. He didn't need to do that. He already had the reports on who was corrupt and whatnot. He could have dealt with it then. He could have put cardinals in positions, or waited long enough to when he could put cardinals in positions to make sure we got a better pope, you know? He could have gotten rid of the corruption he did see as best as he could, and then retire. And say, okay, someone else needs to finish this. You know? Could have done a number of things. He's the Pope, for God's sakes. Don't tell me he was weak. Don't tell me he couldn't do anything. Look at what Francis has been doing. Look what he's accomplished. With his material heresy, watering down the faith, weakening the faith. You mean to tell me he's able to do all that, but an Orthodox Pope was not able to do anything? It doesn't track. So I feel like he kind of left us to the wolves. Now, that's not to say that God can't bring good out of that, but now we have a divided church. We have these so-called conservative Catholics, which they call themselves conservative Catholics, but I learned of a different phrase in a book I'm reading. He calls them neo-Catholics. And it's this idea that they're faithful to the moral teachings of the church, to the unchanging aspects of the church, but they're willing to throw out all those things they consider to be non-essential, such as the traditional Mass, such as evangelization being replaced with ecumenism. Ugh. You know? So these kind of Catholics, although not heretics in themselves, they're not liberals, right? But they're not really building up tradition either. The traditions that have taught the faith for, what, almost 2,000 years? Maybe not 2,000 years, but over 1,000 years at least. 1,900 years, something like that, 1,800 years. these same conservative Catholics or neo-Catholics will attack traditionalists as being what? Schismatic or whatever. Just because as a traditionalist we believe as the church has believed for the past 2,000 years, up until 1965 or so. Now all of a sudden we're the schismatics because we still believe as the church has always believed for those thousands of years. And we don't accept the novelties that have happened since Vatican II. This idea that, we just throw out the Mass the way it was. We just throw out evangelization. As Francis says, don't proselytize, which is just a way of saying don't evangelize, because he got upset when someone brought a convert to him one time at I can't remember the date or what it was. It was a public thing. He was upset that they brought a convert like as if they were a trophy or some kind. Is the way he said it. So obviously we've now left this church that is eating itself. All of them claiming to be more Catholic than the next guy. So yeah, I felt like that was his one big thing. I'm also saying this because more than likely what's going to happen is they're going to try and literally canonize, when I say make him a saint, make Benedict a saint, in an effort to canonize Vatican II. Every pope that's come after Vatican II, they want to make saints immediately. Excuse me, I got some business to handle here. So every pope that comes after Vatican II is going to be canonized, at least I suspect, is what they'll do, in order to say, see how many saints Vatican II has produced. But those aren't infallible either. They've already picked saints that were saints and said they're not saints anymore, so they might do that here too. Whatever. So there you go. State of the church. It's a mess. It is a mess. I mean, you can't fix the world as long as the church is a mess. Not that the world can never be perfect, mind you. Not that we can ever have a perfect worldly kingdom. But Christ gave us the church to sanctify the world. And you're not going to elect a Ronald Reagan in America and go, well, there you go, we're going to roll everything back now, because the Constitution is not divine. The Constitution wasn't given the promise of indefectibility. The Constitution is a man-made document that's flawed. It has its own flaws. So we're not going to save the world through some politician like that. No, our only answer is Christ and his church to win converts to the traditional Orthodox beliefs of the church. Now, you non-Catholics are not going to like that, but let me put it to you. If you're a non-Catholic, then you at the very least must believe that your particular denomination is the answer to the problems of the world. You have to believe that your denomination, in which, by the way, you're literally a denomination, because the Catholic Church was founded by Christ. We're not a denomination. We're the church. But my point being, you would at least have to hold that your particular religious beliefs is the answer. And as such, you should, if you're going to remain consistent, believe that those beliefs should be adopted by everybody. Ought to be, anyway. And that the answer to healing other things is to first get your religious beliefs correct. If you don't believe that, then you don't believe in Jesus Christ, or you don't believe in your particular religious beliefs. Now, I'm not saying your religious beliefs equal to mine. I'm not saying your particular denomination is equal to the church. There's one church that he founded, one true church, and that is that. What I'm saying is, if you believe what you believe, you should think yours is the true church too. You're wrong. You're wrong, but to be consistent, you should still believe that. To be logically consistent. So don't start commenting about how extremist I'm being by saying that about the church and everything. When, by even commenting like that, you're admitting that you think your beliefs are correct over mine. And if you don't think your beliefs should be applied to everyone else, then you don't believe what you believe. You believe your way is just one option among many. So there you go. I hope I was able to offend everybody equally. I tend to do that, even without trying. I can't help it. It's a blessing and a curse. But hey, iron sharpens iron, right? If you can't take it, you're not going to do too well in life either. Well, other than that serious stuff, there's nothing really else going on. Just surviving, getting by, one day at a time, one moment at a time. Trying to live life. And get along. Trying to find some peace in the world. It's hard to do when you value truth so much. If you believe in an objective truth and you value that, then this world is going to be a very miserable place, lonely place. I mean that emotionally, not like you can't find any peace or joy or anything, but it's going to be a hard life, is my point. In this world, anyway. This world doesn't want truth or anything else closely related to that. This world wants acquiescence, submission. And I've tried to submit, tried to get along, tried to keep my mouth shut and not say what I know to be true. Keep my beliefs to myself. And I hate saying my beliefs as if somehow, well, it's just one opinion among many. But the truth. Try to do that. To make friends, to just hang out, watch the same shows, laugh at the same jokes. Let's all just get a beer and don't worry about it, right? Don't be so strict, Neil. Don't be so serious all the time. Why can't you just be fun, Neil? Oh, Lord, here comes Neil again. Saying what he's going to say. I've gotten that a lot, in case you can't tell. And you know what? Like I said, it's a curse. I can't do it. I screw it up every time. Because people will say things that are just outright stupid. I hate to say it like that. I'm not trying to be arrogant. It's just some people I've met have said things that are just so logically inconsistent. No critical thinking. Like these people buy into relativism, subjectivism. And they'll make these statements that are completely subjective, completely relative, but say it as if it's somehow an objective reality. And then I'll sit there and go, okay, so what you're saying is this, and if you're saying this, then you must also believe that. But that can't be true because now all of a sudden I just spoil all the fun. You know, it's like I just can't do it. My brain doesn't. I can't hear something that's blatantly not consistent, reasonably, logically, whatnot, and just go, oh, okay, no big deal. We'll just pretend like that didn't happen. So, which is why I'm here by myself, smoking my pipe, talking to a camera on my phone, so that I can I can do basically the same thing I do when I had a bunch of friends. I can now do to the masses who happen to stumble upon this stupid video that I make on YouTube, which really has no earthly reason to exist. Except for, like I said, maybe my kids will see it one day and they'll understand me a bit better. Oh, look, 20 minutes have gone by? Alright, well, I'll stop boring you now. I don't think anyone's going to watch past 5 minutes. Anyway, even my kids. So, God bless, take care. And, well, I don't have a catchphrase here. So, take care, stay smoky, bye-bye.